Imagine, for a moment, a young boy, born around 340 BCE, not in a palace, not with a silver spoon, but in humble circumstances. His name, Chandragupta. This name would soon echo through the halls of history, a name synonymous with rebellion, strategy, and the birth of one of the largest empires the world had ever seen. But how? How did this ordinary boy rise to become Chandragupta Maurya, the unifier of India? The story is more thrilling than any epic you've heard. It's a tale of a tense encounter that would change the destiny of a... In the bustling markets and dusty roads of ancient India, a brilliant but wronged scholar named Chanakya was searching. He was looking for a spark, a fire in someone's eyes that could burn down an entire corrupt dynasty. And he found it. In a young Chandragupta, playing games of kings and kingdoms with his friends, Chanakya saw not a boy, but a future emperor. He saw a mind sharp as a razor and a will as strong as steel. This meeting, around 325 BCE, wasn't just a fortunate accident. It was the collision of genius and ambition, the very catalyst for an imperial storm. Together, this unlikely duo, the wise strategist and the young warrior, dared to dream the impossible. Their target was the mighty Nanda Empire, a regime drowning in its own wealth and arrogance, ruled by the tyrannical Dynanda. But overthrowing an empire isn't a game. It requires an army, resources, and a plan so audacious it borders on madness. People laughed at them. They called them fools. But they underestimated the power of a single, burning purpose. What followed was not just a series of battles, but a masterclass in political intrigue, psychological warfare, and military genius. The first 2 minutes are just the beginning. Stick with me, and I'll show you how a boy with nothing became the man who conquered everything. The first step was to build an army. Chanakya, with his unparalleled wisdom, knew they couldn't challenge the Nundas head-on. Not yet. They started small, recruiting from local tribes, disillusioned soldiers, and anyone who yearned for a change. Chandragupta, trained rigorously by Chanakya in the arts of war and statecraft, quickly proved to be a natural leader. He inspired loyalty, not through fear, but through respect. His men saw in him a king who fought alongside them, not one who watched from a golden chariot. Their initial campaigns were a mixed bag. Some stories say their first direct assault on the Nunda capital, Pataliputra, was a disaster. They were routed, forced to flee and regroup. It was a harsh lesson. An empire isn't conquered from the center, it's eaten away from the edges. Learning from this, they changed their strategy. It was like a game of chess, played across the entire Indian subcontinent. They began capturing the outer provinces of the Nanda Empire one by one, slowly but surely cutting off its resources and weakening its hold. While this was happening, another major power was making its presence felt. Alexander the Great had pushed his Macedonian armies all the way to the Indus River Valley, around 326 BCE. Presence created a power vacuum in the northwestern regions of India. After Alexander's retreat and subsequent death in 323 BCE, his vast empire fractured. His generals, known as the Diadochi, fought over the pieces. This chaos was the perfect opportunity for Chandragupta. He turned his attention to the northwest, swiftly conquering the territories left vulnerable by the Greek withdrawal. By 322 BCE, he had consolidated his power in the Punjab region, securing a strong base and a seasoned army. Now, they were ready. With the northwest secure and his army stronger than ever, Chandragupta marched towards the heart of the Nunda Empire. The final confrontation was inevitable. Around 321 BCE, Chandragupta's forces laid siege to the capital city of Patala. The battle was fierce, a culmination of years of planning and struggle. But the Nunda dynasty, weakened from within and without, finally crumbled. Dhanananda was overthrown, and at the young age of around 20, Chandragupta Maurya ascended the throne. He wasn't just a new king, he was the founder of a new era, the Mauryan era. The boy who played king was now a king in reality. With the Nanda Empire vanquished, Chandragupta, guided by Chanakya, who was now his chief minister, began the monumental task of consolidating his new empire. He didn't just conquer lands, he united them under a single, efficient administration. Chanakya's treatise, the Arthashastra, became the blueprint for this new government. It was a marvel of organization, covering everything from tax collection and trade regulation to espionage and foreign policy. A vast network of officials and spies ensured that the emperor's rule was firm and just, from the mountains of the Hindu Kush to the plains of the Ganges. But the world wasn't going to just let him be. In the west, Seleucus I Nicator, one of Alexander's most powerful generals, had established the Seleucid Empire and wanted to reclaim the Indian territories his predecessor had once touched. Around 305 BCE, Seleucus crossed the Indus, aiming to challenge the new Indian emperor. He expected to find warring local kings, not a unified, formidable superpower. The Mauryan army that met him was nothing like the forces Alexander had faced. The two great powers clashed in what is known as the Seleucid-Mauryan War. The details of the war are scarce, but the outcome is clear. Seleucus was soundly defeated. Instead of conquering Indian land, he was forced into a peace treaty that was highly favorable to Chandragupta. Seleucus ceded vast territories, including regions of modern-day Afghanistan and Pakistan, to the Maurya Empire. In a remarkable diplomatic move to seal the alliance, he also arranged a marriage, possibly between his daughter and Chandragupta. And in a final, iconic exchange, Chandragupta gifted Seleucus 500 war elephants, which would later play a decisive role in his battles back in the west. This victory wasn't just military, it was a statement. The Mauryan Empire was now a dominant world power, respected and feared from Greece to Bengal. Under Chandragupta's reign, the empire flourished. Agriculture thrived, thanks to extensive irrigation systems. Trade routes, both by land and sea, were made safe, leading to unprecedented economic prosperity. Pataliputra, his capital, was described by Greek ambassador Megasthenes as one of the most magnificent cities in the world, a sprawling metropolis with grand palaces, wooden walls, and 64 gates. Chandragupta had not only built an empire, he had built a civilization that was stable, prosperous, and culturally vibrant. He had transformed the chaotic patchwork of warring states into a unified, powerful nation. But power, especially absolute power, is a heavy burden. Towards the end of his life, an extraordinary transformation took place in the emperor. According to Jain tradition, a severe famine swept across the empire. The sight of his people's suffering deeply affected Chandragupta. At the same time, he came under the influence of the Jain monk board. Torn by guilt and seeking spiritual solace, the emperor, who had everything, decided to give it all away. Around 297 BCE, after a rule of about 24 years, Chandragupta Maurya did the unthinkable. He abdicated the throne, passing the vast empire he had built to his son Bin. He renounced all worldly possessions, his palace, his power, his very identity as an emperor. He became a Jain monk, an ascetic. He traveled south with Bhadrabahu and a group of other monks to a place now known as Shravana-Belogola, in modern-day Karnataka. There, on a hill, the man who once commanded armies and ruled millions lived the austere life of a monk. He spent his final years in meditation and fasting. According to Jain texts, he embraced the ultimate act of renunciation, Salikana, a voluntary fast unto death, to purify the soul. Sometime around 297 BCE, Chandragupta Maurya, the founder of the great Mauryan Empire, passed away not as a king in a palace, but as a humble ascetic on a remote hilltop. It's an ending so profound it feels like legend. A boy born with nothing, who gained everything, and then willingly gave it all up for a spiritual quest. Chandragupta's story is a powerful reminder that true greatness isn't just about what you conquer, but also about what you're willing to let go. His legacy is not just the empire he built, which his grandson Ashoka the Great would expand to its zenith, but also this incredible personal journey of ambition, power, and ultimate renunciation. From a shepherd boy to a mighty emperor to a humble monk, the life of Chandragupta Maurya remains one of the most compelling and inspiring stories in human history. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as I do, please hit that like button and subscribe for more journeys into the past. Let me know in the comments which historical figure you'd like to see next. See you in the next video.